All right, we're gone.
All right, welcome back, episode 4.
Yeah, holy shit, 4.
Sports. Took a little Christmas break. Hope all our loyal listeners had a wonderful Christmas and maybe
Kwanzaa.
are still enjoying Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Sam is missing today if you're watching on video, as I'm sure you are. So sorry you can't be here, but
couldn't figure out the mic. I'm too dumb for it.
So here we go. I guess should we just hop right in, or do you have any breaking news like you want to? I mean, a huge one over the night.
Yeah, I think one thing that was kind of interesting. So I looked into Kwanzaa, like how it started and whatever.
Okay.
So it started in it was like the 60s, 70s. It started in response to like this black guy. He went and like robbed something and like killed some people, and then like he was like killed or like arrested or whatever, and like the mom ended up like starting it, and she was something, they were like a professor or something, and then like I don't know if like, or maybe this person like started it and then ended up going into jail, but either way, like the person who started it like ended up being like a criminal. It was kind of wild. And like I guess there's like FBI ties somehow, but I guess they're like back in that time there seems like there was FBI ties with like any like black civil rights groups at all, so kind of harder to parse that out, and it kind of just makes you think that like
were they like stirring up shit?
Yeah, or like you always hear about like, oh, planting like drugs on people, and it seems like it would be really easy back in the day to just make crimes be whatever you want to be. Like I looked and saw
wasn't that just thing where like they I think it was for protests, like to stop protests, and I think there was actually proven in somewhere in New York at a protest, but they'll have like disruptive people and
elements,
and they'll like go and turn it up into like a more dangerous situation, and then that allows them to use more force.
Then you you can control the narrative, like, oh, this got out of hand, and so we had to use violence. Yeah,
exactly. And then it also makes them look bad because it's like, oh, you guys weren't peaceful.
Yeah, like all about and that probably happened like so often, and you probably too, because they probably controlled like the press, and like you didn't have the internet or anything, so anything that people like the people in power like wanted to be reported, it probably did get reported.
Imagine the shit that people used to get away with. It was probably just nuts, and like the manipulation and the crazy shit that I guess we kind of pretend like doesn't exist anymore, but
it probably does. But I mean, I guess, and like somehow Watergate like fell through the cracks, like that seems like a pretty easy thing to cover up. But I guess it was just a political party rather than like, like some like nobody.
Well, I think it was more like grievances, right? Kind of.
Yeah. But it also kind of makes you think like January 6th, right? There was like a bunch of FBI people there, and like I guess to your point, were they egging people on to do stuff, even though it wasn't really that violent, but still I guess it kind of makes you think a little bit.
And I think with all like big protests that you kind of wonder, and it's just weird too how often like they are like around people like I think one of the leaders of Proud Boys I think was like an informant. It seems like every time like some person does like a shooting, it's like, the FBI talked to this guy like last year, and it's like,
and I guess that kind of makes me feel almost a little bit better that it's like, well, we got information on it, but we protect civil rights, that we're not just going around arresting people for like pre-crime,
Yeah, no, no, it's the tough thing about America. It's like the laws are reactive, not proactive. So it's like you have all these tough situations, and like technically, it's like if someone like murders someone and then gets held accountable, it's like I guess it's like a good outcome legally. But it still like pisses people off because the murder happened and it didn't stop the murder from happening.
Yeah, but I mean, like
Laws are
we can't really stop stuff like that. That probably will always exist, and I guess
yeah,
there's something with like free speech where you like what you want with free speech is you want like people to be able to say the worst things possible, and I think probably like less and less people are actually have that belief and thought. But I almost feel the same way with like crime, where it's like you know like rise like I guess it's kind of like two tracks of thought. Like one where if it's like an aberration, like a crime just out of nowhere is committed, like that's almost kind of okay in a sense where you can't really do anything about it, and the stuff you could do to prevent that would be like way overkill and a roughshod of civil liberties and stuff. But like a lot of crime that's committed is like very small, super repeat offenders. And I think that like probably not that people are aware of that it's probably like 80% of crime are committed by people that have like, more like have been arrested multiple times. And I think like that three strikes law is actually a pretty damn good idea that, if you three strikes, you commit three like felonies or whatever it is, you go to jail for a really long time. That just basically solves shit. But unfortunately, it has kind of like racial connotations because, like you're locking people up for a long time and overdo it and stuff. But I think unfortunately that's just kind of the way we have to go.
yeah. No, I think it is interesting. The three strikes. I don't know if the three strikes law is like good or not because it's a little like too. It doesn't leave any room for nuance, which I think nuance does exist a lot in like the world. So it's weird because you could do like three and like things that like count as felonies. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you could have like a lot of weed on you, and that could be like a felony in one place and not a felony in another.
Yeah, but isn't it kind of up to you to like know the law? And it's like, okay, you get two
Oh, for sure.
passes where it's like, oh, you didn't know it. But the third time, just just don't do that shit, right? Or you're gonna be in jail forever. I guess, to
Yeah,
a nuance point, I kind of agree with it, but also I kind of just don't because it's
you've had
like,
enough opportunity.
yeah, it's like you've had enough chances, and like we have this like national kind of like mood, or it seems like a large proportion of people do, where they view criminals as kind of like victims in a way, where and
Mm-hmm.
like all of them have come from, well, not all of them, but like a large majority of them come from like really shitty backgrounds, probably like broken household, got abused, left out, parents were assholes, society treated them like shit, like, and that all sucks, right? But getting your shit broken into or getting like raped or mugged or assaulted, like that also really, really sucks too. And I think we like just kind of forget, or we think like, oh, like this crime is just so abstract. But like there's someone like that had probably the worst day of their entire life because of this person. And like if we keep letting this person out, these people out, like people are gonna keep having the worst days of their lives. And so it's like, you know what? I guess I kind of run out of empathy for those people.
Yeah, no, it's hard to because it's like I don't know. It's weird with all this criminal justice reform. It's like the
Yeah.
conversation is like it's all these like nonviolent offenders, like
Hmm.
drug, low low level stuff, and you're like, okay, like I think everyone's like, that makes sense. And then you see, whatever, a lot of like protests in 2020 and stuff, and
Hmm.
then people are just more aware of issues and policing and then it somehow it's like the pendulum just swinging a little too far, and then it goes to like, well, we're just like releasing, who knows? It's like,
Hmm.
why are I did not understand why we released, yeah, like it's like, all right, no cash bail, so we're just not going to do cash bails or bail for anyone now, and it's like you're going to murder someone and then let someone go out and expect them to show back up. It's like and it happens all the time. It's like
Yeah.
people just repeat, and you're like, it just doesn't even make sense. I don't understand. Like same with sanctuary cities and ICE, like not cooperating with ICE. It's like I get it for some people. Like if ICE was like going around deporting, and you didn't want to be part of like just like deporting random people, I get like
Hmm.
I'm not going to be part of that. But if you have someone who's like rapes someone or murders someone or armed robbery, like is
Yeah.
doing things that are like, yeah, having like traumatic effects on people. And then you're just still gonna like let them, and then they're not doing bail, and then you're still just letting them roam. I don't get it. I just
One thing, I actually got my view changed on it, and like I only looked at this kind of surface level. I guess I kind of looking at basically everything surface level. But with the cash bail in Chicago, I had the similar mindset. I was like, this is dumb. You know, it's gonna be like cause a huge intake in crime, blah blah blah. And it turned out, you know, if you believe it, like it turned out that it like didn't. You know, like it was kind of fine. I mean, like crime was up, but like it's up more because, you know, we're not actually like prosecuting people. It's not like the actual bail process, you know, like had that effect. You know, it's like not prosecuting, but like it was kind of okay. And I'm like, all right, like that's interesting. And maybe kind of open my eyes, like, you know, because that would kind of suck. You're super poor and like go to jail for, I don't know, you know, some stupid shit. And you just can't pay it. Or like, yeah, then you have to pay money and then it's like, okay, shit, you're poor, so you have to go steal or like do drugs or whatever because of bail, you know. I don't know. So at least that changed my mind a little bit.
No, I did see that, and I saw that it didn't seem like to have its. I don't know. I think all like crime stats right now are fucked up, so they're hard to like.
Yeah, I like don't trust them, but like, you know, that feels
like everything's great. Everything's great.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading like
I don't know. The
it's just, like
vibes
what you're exposed to. Yeah, but it's like vibes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like when they're like, "Well, the prices our economy's doing great," and then it's like,
yeah.
Well, when I go to the grocery store, everything costs a lot more.
It doesn't feel great.
And then there's just like horrible stories happening. Like, did you see that story about? It was like on the same day that the governor of New York was like celebrating the subway safety.
Mm-hmm.
Someone like lit someone else on
fire.
Yeah,
Insane.
Just nuts. And it's so funny too because when there were so many people that were like, you know, you just ignore problems, or you shouldn't get involved, or you shouldn't like nothing. It's a normal day on the subway. Like that's what it's like, and it's like, what? That's not normal.
No, and like that people are like have gotten to the point where like that's okay is like kind of like the problem.
Exactly. No, it definitely like adds to the problem because it allows it to go on. Like you did, it's crazy here. The subways are like unreal. Like it's almost like a family atmosphere. It's like going to church.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of people standing around. Like it's not. Everyone is just respectful. It's super clean. It's easy. It's just like normal and like how it should be, and it's like not a big deal. And I just don't understand why like in the U.S. you just allow. It's just like you feel it's like dangerous, like a little bit dangerous, and it's like statistically, you know, they can tell you all these things.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're the one who ends up being the victim of something, it's like, well, I don't really care what the stats. Like it's.
I guess like I kind of almost on the other side where it's like every time I've taken the L in Chicago, it's always just been pleasant. You know, like everyone's quiet, clean, it's nice. But I'm not taking like the super bit. Like you know, my wife has different. It's not like terrible, but you know, she takes the really busy trains where it's like, oh, getting a seat sucks. But she never feels really like in danger that much. You know, so you know, I think a lot of it is too where maybe the fear outweighs. It's like something that has to be absolutely perfect. And I guess circling back to our previous point, you know, like there's just going to be people doing stuff, you know, like bad stuff, and you can't really stop that. You know, I think just make sure it's like clean, I think goes a long way.
Good point. Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah, cleanliness. I don't know. There's just something about like the way we treat mental health. I don't know what's different here or what's happening, but there just isn't the same amount of people, or maybe it's drugs, but like the people that are just kind of like strung out in America or like yelling at people or just like causing issues or just like getting into it with just like those interactions just don't seem to be happening here.
It feels like we just are we've gotten too like too kind to be like to people with mental health, that it's like, oh, I have mental health issues, and that for some reason it's like, okay, that just excuse any aberrant behavior, you know. Whereas, you know, it's like, okay, like the quote is, your mental health is, I don't know, something, but it's like your responsibility at the end of the day, where like, all right, you could have whatever you have. Who cares, like we'll provide you the help to get it, but at the end of the day, if you fuck with other people, like it doesn't really matter. And I think, the pendulum swung too far of where it's like, oh, you have mental health, like, oh, you can do whatever the fuck you want then,
Yeah. It's like you can't say anything to any kid now because you don't want to have like a traumatic effect on them.
Yeah, or like go to jail, or I don't know.
Like you're all like overthinking it a little bit.
Yeah, overthinking it. I saw one where California, there's an inmate that, because of their law, it's like as long as you say like you're trans, then you're trans, and like he like rates like a couple inmates, and like I don't know, and like the big kind of like thing was like this person must be referred to the pronouns, but like he's had all these he, she, whatever. It's all these like violent stuff, and it's like, of course, people would, if it's so easy just to do it, like of course predators are gonna just do that so they can be paired with women, and I guess it's just like funny in a really sad way that like women's rights has just it's just been completely kneecapped by like guys, and it's like, is this really a good thing? No, but like I guess kind of women are like the biggest proponents of it. It seems like.
I know, you just kind of like, it's one of those honestly where it's like, I guess you get what you vote for. Or some
yeah. Until you're affected, it just seems like, oh, why not? Yeah, why not? Yeah. All right, move on. Let's move on.
I tried to warn you.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. All right, what do we got going on this week? Oh, biggest cuck teams of professional sports. Oh, okay.
So,
first time I read this, I thought it says the biggest cuck of professional sports.
You could do that too. You could do that too. But I think
I was like, I don't know. That's a tough one.
I was thinking this, like you said, of the big news where Corbin signed with Arizona, and like looking into it, it seems that he got a good deal of money that he wanted, but also he lives in Scottsdale and he just had twins, so being around for his family, not leaving the state, he kind of played a big factor in on it. But it seems specifically with baseball, like the teams that always miss out like are the Blue Jays and the Giants, but it seems mostly the Blue Jays. And I guess even Red Sox haven't, done anything this free agency. No really big trades. Well, they did a trade, right? They got they did a crochet deal, but no free agents. And it's just, but I think the Blue Jays might be my pick for, because like I view Cuck as like where you on paper like you should be able to compete or you should be an attractive destination, but you just always wind up short. And it seems kind of hard to think of any team that's worse than the Blue Jays.
Okay, that's a good one. I feel like for a long time, and maybe it still kind of is, but I think that the Miami Dolphins are kind of a cuck team because they're such a cool city. Like people obviously go to Miami because it's like cool and you can party and it's, like the team, the Latin culture and but then it probably affects your game a little bit. And I think the Miami Dolphins have been cucked by like allowing Tyreek Hill, come here, $80 million, 4 years, do whatever you want.
Yeah, he's like flirting with like doing like being a coach for an HBCU.
Really? I feel like, yeah. He literally just does whatever the fuck he wants. I think he has like 10 kids now, over 10 kids.
Yeah.
He's living the dream, man. Populating the world, doing his part.
Yeah. Do you think like Mike McDaniels just doesn't seem to have a firm hold on that team?
No. It just has a very Miami Bryce, like, and he's like kind of the cool coach, and I think he'd be a hell of an offensive coordinator. I don't know if he's a head coach. Like I think at the end of the day, you gotta have someone who like that Green Bay game when he's like freezing on the sidelines. It's just a tough look. I don't know what you want him to do in that situation, but just like he just got to have some more balls and like just be tougher and just be like, fuck this. I don't know. Maybe go shirtless for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Need
Like
some life.
just like in the locker room, like before anyone knows, just like rub Vaseline all over you so you're like insulated. Yeah. That seems like hair gel, he's all gelled up, so
Douse yourself in Vaseline and then go
yeah.
outside and show everyone how tough you are.
Exactly. I was thinking like Bill Belichick, I think would be like almost the worst, like the worst fit for the Miami Dolphins, but kind of the best fit. Like it'd be just kind of funny to see him in like as a Miami Dolphins coach because I just can't picture it, but it's almost so absurd that I can picture it.
I'm excited to watch him as that would be hilarious. I'm excited to watch him as college football coach just to see like I don't know, everyone's questioning whether he can do it nowadays, but I feel like it's not even that hard. Like recruiting is just money now. It's just
Yeah.
financial. Are you going to do it? Play for me. Obviously, he has an incredible resume. UNC's got money. They have Jordan Brand. They'll be good. And why not? North Carolina's a cool school and play ACC. So
Yeah. I could see a kid dying in like training camp.
I hope he like pushes all the rules, like because
Yeah.
you know how with the Patriots he was kind of always like
Cheating.
do what you want, but he was
Yeah.
always kind of like on the edge of cheating and like
Yeah.
pushing the rules for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a
And
habitual line
he's
stepper.
probably going to push the rules as much as he can for this situation too. I mean, I don't know why wouldn't he? There's no evidence he wouldn't.
So do you think he'll be good?
Yeah, I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, I think so too.
As long as people have patience for like he needs like at least probably a year to like kind of form a team and like get a little excitement and then recruit more guys, and like build really. The hard part is you got to like build relationships. Like you're getting recruited as like a young, like a freshman or sophomore in high school nowadays when you're one of those top guys. And if Bill Belichick like doesn't talk to these kids, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, come sign for me. I just became the head coach at UNC, and he gets the job. Like now it's like, are you gonna go there as a freshman, or are you gonna be like, I've been talking to this guy at whatever Ohio State for the last 4 years. I'm gonna stick with him.
Maybe it was a total long con with him having his 24-year-old girlfriend, so he can like be relatable to the youth.
Dude, he can. Maybe I think it proves he can.
Yeah, right. Like if he could like somehow have a relationship with a 24-year-old, seems that he could like talk with the youngins.
Dude, it's crazy. Like I couldn't believe that. I still just like can't believe that whole situation is real. Like dating a 24-year-old. So I remember seeing like she posted something about excited going to North Carolina, and I was like, no way, this is real. So I had to like look at her post. I'm like, she actually is like really his girlfriend.
I'm thinking it's almost like the Bernie Sanders situation, where like all the young people love that shit. And it's like almost you get to a point where maybe you're so old that you become like maybe not relatable, but like a grandpa figure, and like everyone kind of likes a nice grandpa, but like I think you kind of have to have the grumpy, exterior for that to like play. Cause I think like just thinking of Tim Waltz, why he didn't connect, because he kind of had the same folksy exterior, but it was just like he's too, I don't know, it just seemed too like friendly where it just came off like he was trying too hard and like weird, versus like Bernie, he's like ornery, and I think like that plays. Like for some reason it seems not that different, like just old white guys. But also like Bernie looks a lot older, I think he is a lot older. And Bill looks like older, and Tim kind of looked that weird like value between like old dad, young grandpa, Like I think there's something there of like that.
It's like, is he actually old or is he just
and
it
just it's like no one wants an old dad, but everyone is okay with like a young or just normal age grandpa type thing.
Yeah, especially when you're rich.
And
Bill is rich. I don't know if I would necessarily like be traveling with him. Would you move? Would you? So say you're out of this girl. You're this 24-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And your life is just like living with Bill Belichick now. Are you just down to pretty much move?
I think you do anything. I mean, like as a 20-year-old, you should be kind of down to move and do anything regardless, right? So why not?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's almost like a full-time job for her.
Yeah, it's kind of like a stay-at-home girlfriend type thing.
You just got to get it locked up. That's probably her biggest.
Yeah, she needs to get a ring. But I mean, shit. Even if not, like, you got to live in a nice mansion. You know, like the worst thing you're doing is just sucking old man dick. You know, like I don't know. Or maybe like she likes the age gap. Like I think one thing when it comes to age, like some proportion. I don't think it's a lot, but like like some proportion of girls just really like old dudes. You know, maybe that daddy issues or whatever. But like they're just for those girls, something about old man dick just really gets them going.
Yeah.
Like guys with MILFs, some guys like MILFs and grandmas and shit,
true.
Like, I don't know, like some people are just into that shit.
That's true. Especially I guess down maybe in that age, you're around professors, you're around people that are older. So
Yeah.
Like,
oh, they're so mature and stuff.
Just taunting you all the time.
Mm-hmm. It'd be kind of nice to be like, assuming, they break up, like be her next boyfriend, I guess, like, it's like, oh, like your dick can actually get hard. Like that's, like, oh my God, what a revelation, or maybe Bill Belichick just has like a hammer, I don't know. I could see him like doing play calls in bed. It's like, oh, we're running the Power 5 right now. Here we go.
He doesn't give me strong vibes of like anything wild happening in the bedroom.
I bet he definitely records it and like analyzes like, it's like, oh, I'm gonna watch tape on my performance. Like I bet he definitely does that. And I bet he sent it to Brady so that they can like watch together. Or I wouldn't be surprised if he has like Brady like fucker, and so he coaches him during it. Like he probably likes to like be a director of it. So maybe he is the biggest.
Maybe that's what he does. Yeah.
He's just so maybe Bill Belichick is the biggest cuck of all pro sports.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. That was
full circle there. We figured it out.
Did not see that coming that way, but I'm glad.
And now he's going. Okay. Well, speaking of recruiting at UNC, then hell yeah, I think UNC is going to be very successful the next couple of years.
What about like biggest cuck, just like player, like person, like pro sports person?
Okay, so I was watching the Red Sox, the comeback series on Netflix, and I will say when they lost to the Yankees, and Pedro and they're doing the "Who's Your Daddy?" and he said, "I guess the Yankees are my daddy," and that was pretty big. And I love Pedro, but that was a pretty big cuck move of him to admit that, like, on TV in front of everyone.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe like Chris Paul, maybe.
Oh, I hate Chris. Yeah, he's so annoying.
Because he's like never won anything, and he just keeps like like hopping around. Yeah, and it doesn't work for him.
Chris Paul.
Football. I don't know. I'll have to think about that.
Maybe some of the guys who like follow Aaron around for their career.
Maybe Draymond, because Draymond's like all like on like riding like LeBron's dick.
Yeah, maybe Devontae.
Yeah, dude. Actually, that's
literally left the Packers to go to hang out with Derek Carr. Derek Carr ditches him. Horrible situation, and then he goes to the Jets.
That's a dope. Yeah, dude. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Dude, Devontae. Wow. Sad.
Yeah.
Sad Devontae. He needs to hear it though.
All right. So we move on.
Moving on. Between the great Caleb Williams, Bryce Young, Justin Fields, or Spencer Rattler. What is the question? We don't know. But here.
Yeah, just. Yeah. So I've been,
you've been really pushing Spencer Rattler hard.
I think it's, and this might be the only podcast that is this high in Spencer Rattler, because we're groundbreakers here. It's called having bold takes and being fearless, which Spencer Rattler kind of is. Like I think in that Saints game, like his team completely let him down, and he made that one throw where he's like a jump throw on like third down. I don't know if you saw it, but it's like seared in my memory. Like it was a pretty legit throw. And not having like Alvin Kamara, like no weapons or anything. I don't know. Like there's just something there. Like he definitely has a little arm talent and pocket mobility that is attractive to me. And it's just funny. I think he's just funny. I think he's just a funny, like for some reason, like I don't know, it happens like sports players where you just instantly glob onto them and there's like really no rhyme or reason. And like it's just a completely irrational thing. And I guess it's me with like the Jacksonville Jaguars. I always just think they're going to be kind of okay. And they're always kind of like garbage.
It's like a little brother. You just kind of hope for
good. You just kind of hope, yeah. But so I saw that in terms of like Caleb Williams, his deep ball completion percentage this year is like 30%, 30.4%. And that would be that's the lowest, or at least lowest or second lowest, maybe top 3 lowest since 2000, with players over 100 plus passing attempts in a season. Like that's ridiculously bad.
That's crazy. I feel like he doesn't even try that many deep balls though? Are the attempts there?
Well, so I know in this like last game against the Seahawks, he was 1 for 7.
Okay, so yeah, decent amount.
Like I mean, that's like 20% or whatever, 15, 17.
It's crazy that he like can't even get a pass interference either.
Yeah, well, and there's that one where they were like talking about the broadcast where he had a receiver that was beat, and like throw it right. Like if you have a receiver beat, just underthrow it, and then the receiver back to it. He did that, but he threw it out of bounds, so the receiver couldn't do anything about it. So it's like he's so bad that even underthrown OPI calls where you just have to get it in the wheelhouse. He threw it like it was too far out of bounds, so the receiver couldn't make a play.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
Secondly, like he has already broken the sack record, I think, for like rookies. And now he has I think if he gets 9 more, they'll break the all-time sack total for a QB in a season.
Definitely getting that. Congratulations to him and the Bears.
But then I saw this other because I was so locked in on Caleb. So said like responsible for sacks. I saw this like chart. Caleb Williams, he's responsible for 45%. So like not that much, but the Bears by far have the most. And so like standouts, Matthew Stafford. It looks like the Rams have like 30 sacks. Stafford's responsible for 71.4% of the sacks, which is pretty eye-popping.
But if you talk about it, so Caleb is responsible for 45% of 60 sacks.
Yeah, here I'll see if I can share.
So like 28 or 29, something like that.
Yeah, I should be able to like do this.
Oh yeah, I just hit stop.
Yeah.
I stopped.
Screen 1. Oh, I guess I can't. All right, you go back to sharing. Oh, maybe I'll text you it. Oh, then it's not in. Yeah, damn.
It's okay.
But so Drake May is only responsible for 10.3% of his team sacks, which is pretty wild. It's like that's actually the lowest number of anyone. So he is kind of a budding superstar because I think sacks is like one of the best like if you can avoid them. Jordan Love only has 10 sacks and he's responsible for 36. So he's only responsible for like basically 4 sacks of the Packers, which is pretty wild.
That's like nuts. And Caleb's responsible for like 30 sacks?
He's responsible for like almost 30, like 28 sacks of their 60. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know. And like so I guess all these bars actually probably a good way to look at it. So like Russell Wilson's actually and Jameis Winston are tied, it looks like, around for like 4 sacks each. So a little bit. So they're actually, it looks like 3 sacks they're responsible for, and like Love is for 4. And that's actually tied. That looks like it's tied with like Drake May is actually less than that. So, and Herbert's actually responsible for quite like 20 sacks. Geno Smith is like 28. Stroud is actually second, looks like 3rd, maybe 4th most. responsible, and Darnold's actually really up there too, like 20 plus. So kind of
And
like some interesting numbers here.
what's Purdy?
Purdy, is that responsible 37.9? That looks like that's around like 12. And actually Bryce Young is only responsible for like looks like 7 sacks. So that's kind of impressive that's actually really impressive for him. Like he's tied with Lamar Jackson, like lower percentage, but tied for the amount of sacks. So like Bryce Young is as good as avoiding sacks as Lamar Jackson is.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's an interesting stat, like because I feel like sacks are drive killers, so it does pretty good. Like Caleb Williams, pretty much twice a game is killing a drive. Maybe.
Yeah, and like so, if you like include like like interceptions, he doesn't have that, but you add those two together, he becomes real shit real quick.
Yeah, exactly. Like you only get so many drives a game. If you're gonna take sacks twice yourself, yeah, it's pretty rough. And like Love only doing it 4 times over the whole year, that's pretty impressive.
I know, and even though he was like injured too for like, so he couldn't like, move around in the pocket.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true. Hell
Yeah,
yeah. That was one of the things that frustrated me a lot about Aaron at the end. Like when he like just you could tell like he had calf issues and then he just wasn't moving as well and like but like in the mind still it's hard to like adjust, it seems like, when guys are hurt to know like what their ability is. So they just when they're like or when they're getting older, so they start slowing down and they still think they can like get out of things. And I felt like Aaron, like he'd kind of hang in the pocket and all of a sudden it would just like kind of collapse and it would just be like just like kind of fall around him.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's like if you I don't know, like if you try so hard not to do something, then it's gonna come out in a bad way somewhere else, Like, you have to play the game. One other thing was so from 2021 to 2024, I guess still in the sack thing. So quarterback sack avoidance and charted accuracy seasons. Caleb Williams, there's no QB like for catchable throw rate in that time period that's been below 65% since Caleb Williams. And there's no QB that has over a 30% pressure sack rate other than Caleb Williams. So in like those two metrics, he is, and Justin Fields in 2022, which was not his rookie year. Was that his rookie year? Maybe. So his rookie,
I think so.
the sophomore year, maybe of Fields. So Fields was like the next worst, and even him had like looks like 29 pressure sack and like around like 68 catchable throw rate. So Caleb Williams is less accurate than Justin Fields was.
That's crazy, dude. Because Caleb, like, he makes nice plays where, like,
but that's what stands out. That's what stands out, and then you just forget all like the other stuff. Like your brain just forgets that shit.
Yeah, like those stats are like really, really bad.
Really, really bad. Like,
yeah, and not really like I don't think they're like the Bears play calling.
No,
like I don't know. Their whole situation does seem fucked up now, and like now you do have like a backup coach and a backup coordinator, which is hilarious actually. But yeah, he might be like bust.
But hot take. Ones if like we all like the whole narrative is like, oh, like the Bears organization fucked him over, haven't done anything, blah 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 blah. But another thing, like by PFF, the Bears pass block win rate is like top 15. I think I mentioned this in an earlier episode. I think Caleb is just an organization killer. Like I think the Bears actually did pretty all right by him, and they just don't want to throw him under the bus. But they absolutely should. Like Bears did fine, like made sure their defense, like Eberflus was kind of a good coach, and I think that's going to come out when he gets the next, like he's going to get like probably like a linebacker, kind of like the not keeper. Who's our shitty coach that got the job with Carolina as a linebacker, like our past DC.
Oh, yeah, like a running game coordinator or passing game.
He's like, yeah. But what's his name? Joe Barry. Yeah. So I think like Eberflus, I think he'll come out because his defense is like from where he had them to like what they are now is complete night and day. You know,
Yeah.
and I don't think he was a bad coach. I think he's actually probably like one of the best coaches the Bears have had.
I think I feel like if we talk to the players, we would find out pretty quickly, like someone like Mercedes Lewis, or I don't know, someone who like played on like multiple teams. Like, what is it about the Bears that they keep? Like, they just can't seem to get it out, and I bet that they would be able to tell you, like, pretty honestly what it is.
Yeah, but I think players are dumb. You know, I think players are just really bad at like, determining what because like the Chiefs rank consistently lowest in like that player evaluation of like the stuff that they get, and they're like a
Yeah,
a
but those are like
dynasty.
amenities.
Yeah, but I think that's all kind of related. Where I don't know, like I think the moral story is just don't listen to labor. They're there for a reason.
Like sometimes they could be able to tell you like, oh yeah, we're not winning like because these teams focus or these teams were, I don't know, it could be the coaching culture, it could be a lot of things, but it's not necessarily like it doesn't mean they're not a successful business, it's just more of like and like a lot of guys probably are, hey, we get paid a lot of money, we play football, and like life's good. So
and just check out.
Yeah.
So I think honestly, if I have it, I do Bryce Young 1, Spencer Rattler 2, Fields 3, Caleb 4th. Yeah.
All right, I'm wow.
And that's all facts. I just gave you all the facts for that.
Yeah. No, you did. And I have to stick to my guns. I am not going to react too quickly to some recent drama of the NFL.
All right.
I'm going. God damn, this is a little tough though. I'm going Caleb Williams 1.
Even after all that, the worst QB ever, basically ever. I'm just saying. Bryce, Panthers and the Bears have the same record.
Yeah. I think Caleb can be better. Yeah, you're right. Okay, Bryce Young 1.
All right.
Caleb Williams 2. Justin Fields 3rd. Spencer Rattler 4th.
Really? So you're still you don't see any potential with Rattler over Fields?
I see more potential with Fields. I think Fields is like Taysom Hill. Like Justin Fields should be Taysom Hill for the next 10 years. And why not? Why isn't he Taysom Hill, honestly? It's actually weird.
I think it's on him because he's like, I need to be a QB. I'm not anything else.
Yeah, I don't get that. Like, I think Taysom, like, people should
ego thing.
The Taysom Hill role and be like, dude, I could be that fucking guy.
Yeah, and you get like 20 mil a year, 10, 15, 20 mil, and your career's like forever.
Yeah, and you do like touchdown, like goal line stuff.
Yeah, because like Fields is not going to be a perennial backup QB. Like his skill set's too weird, and he doesn't seem like he really understands game plan. Like, like he gets to the program. Like he's like probably the worst backup QB I can think of, to be honest. Like, right? Like because he's like it. But then on the same point, completely like Malik Willis is kind of like that, but like it works. I don't know. Like if we had Justin Fields instead of Malik Willis, like would the result be the same? Do you think?
I think like Malik, because I think like Malik has like a humbleness to him.
Yeah, he really does.
Fields has like this like top 10 or like whatever top 12 pick.
Because he was like a high pedigree dude.
You're kind of like a $10 million a year quarterback when you start. Yeah. And I feel like once you start there, you have a hard time like coming down.
Yeah,
that's why these guys. That's why these guys don't transition to like the Taysom Hill. It's like, well, I was here first. It's like, yeah, but what's wrong with this?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I think Malik is, I don't know, like he could definitely be like I would take Malik over Anthony Richardson right now.
Dude, I think Malik's pretty legit. And
like that Jaden Reed pass, that was awesome. And he's thrown some dimes.
Yeah. It's
All right,
crazy.
what-
Like it seems like some teams in the NFL like don't value quarterback as much, and it's like
Yeah.
how did you get him for a 7th round pick? He was
No.
a 3rd rounder like a year ago, and he played like
Exactly.
one bad game as a rookie. It's like, well, what'd you expect?
And all this stuff come out where he wasn't even getting like reps or anything, you know? So it's like no development whatsoever. And the development you get is like from not a good QB organization, you know?
Yeah, just bizarre.
But then like Trey Lance got like all those, you know, all that picks and like stuff, you know. So it feels like, I guess you're talking about like how you glom onto a player. Like it feels like the exact same thing with like owners and stuff, where it's like, oh, Trey Lance is this exciting, you know, untapped resource, like reclamation project, versus like Malik is like the exact same type of thing, but he's trash for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why. That's a good point. I don't know what the difference is there.
Because I guess
Just
Trey
like
Lance
Trey
was like
Lance.
picked so high.
What was it?
He was like picked so high, so it's like kind of like dating. Like if you've been with like if you've had a lot of like capital put in you, it's kind of like you've dated a super hot girl or you've dated a super hot guy. Then it's like, oh, or you've had like a prestigious job. Doesn't really matter who you are. It's like someone else validates you, and like we're willing to spend all that capital on you. So obviously there must be something there. Versus like Malik's only a 3rd rounder. No one saw anything. You know, you're not revisiting draft picks or, you know, think outside the box type of thing.
Yeah. And you probably just look at like Trey Lance and physically can like run and throw and big arm and
Yeah.
that doesn't get the job done though.
So let's maybe keep going on this because I think it's interesting. I would take Malik over CJ Stroud.
Okay, how are you going to back that one up? Stroud also because Stroud has
Stroud has just been awful this year, and Malik has been good this year.
his play has been pretty small playing time sample size
for both. Well, not for both, but like we've had more instances of CJ Stroud being awful than we have of Malik.
Yeah, but he's also played a lot more, so that would make sense.
Yeah, but like I don't know, if we just focus on terribleness, CJ wins out, you know? And even like I'm almost getting to the point where I'd take Malik over Lamar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And why do you think that?
I think just potential. Like you said, the humbleness, you know, just he's just like the character is there for him to be molded into like a superstar.
Why wouldn't you take Malik over Josh Allen?
I think I would. I think the only QB I wouldn't take him over is Jordan Love. I think that's what it comes down to.
Mahomes?
Yeah, easy. Because Mahomes is like a bitch.
Tom Brady in 2014?
No, well, but I guess like Brady and Malik are similar, where they're both kind of like system QBs, you know.
Okay.
And so like if Malik was in that system, I think he could have done similar things. Maybe not exactly it, because Brady is like a psychopath. But I think Malik could have won a couple Super Bowls.
Okay. And now that system is at UNC. So how many national championships does UNC get before 2030? So 5 seasons.
I think 0, but I think they go to actually I say 0, but for a different reason, because I think Belichick is just doing this to do it, and because he in his contract he has an out to go to the NFL basically whenever he wants to. So I think he's just going to put some stuff on tape. People are going to realize, oh, he still got it, and like, oh, he's been humbled by the process of, you know, being a college guy, and then he's going to get an NFL job after this.
How many years?
I think it'll be like 2 years, and then I'll get an NFL job.
Oh, so pretty quick.
I think it's going to be with the Raiders, because that makes sense with Brady being a part owner there.
Okay, interesting. That'll be fun,
right? And that seems like that could work.
I think you should email your guy at
Oh, yeah. Get some odds on this.
odds and make
Yeah.
place the bet. Sounds
Well,
good.
they don't do it because I'm a shark. So
Yeah.
I've learned that the hard way.
All right. Bryce Young is our number one for both of us.
Yeah, that's kind of surprised how it ended up that way, but kind of glad it
You
did.
kind of convinced me. So, all right,
Yeah.
Bryce Young it is. Moving on.
Moving on.
How into CFB are you? It sounds like it's.
Well, I meant college football. Whoops.
Yeah. CFB. Yeah.
Is that CFB?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, football. Yeah. Duh.
NBA ratings decline. How to fix? All right. How into college football am I? Well,
like right now.
Notre Dame. I'm in Notre Dame.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, I'm gonna stay up till fucking God knows when to watch. I think.
So
Oregon,
is it like the level of Packers for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say it's higher. Honestly, it's
really
like the number one sport I could watch.
I wish I could get into it that much, but I can't find I kind of care, but like even like all these bowl games, I was watching like YouTube video, like random YouTube slop over bowl games.
Yeah, no, at this point in the season, it's like you want to watch like good competitive games. You're like, all right, I don't need to watch like random teams having fun.
Yeah.
If you want to watch like the NFL playoffs are going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah. I guess like the maybe the downside with the playoffs is that like the allure for all these bowls has just dropped off the cliff for me. Like before it, I used to be, I'd be like into it, like a Rose Bowl or like whatever, right? Like even like probably the Michigan game, like I don't even know if I'll watch it, like maybe I probably will, but I don't know if like I'm not for sure about that.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. Like the playoff system really has killed the bowls. It used to be such a big deal, even if you weren't in the national championship. Be like, oh, we're going to the Sugar Bowl, and now it's like, I think this game is the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah,
and Notre Dame. So it's like, it's just weird. Yeah, it is very bizarre.
And that brand equity has like it'll probably like just die away. Like I can see in 5 years that they're not even called bowls anymore.
Yeah. No.
Because it's like, oh, who cares if you're in the Sugar Bowl? I guess Rose Bowl, I think, still has some cachet. Like, I think that's still kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's the location and everything.
It's kind of funny, though, because, like, why did it ever matter? Like, why it just was one of those things? And it was like.
Yeah, but, like, people, I don't know. I think people kind of, like, liked, I don't know, maybe just, like, the familiar name. Yeah, Simpler Times. That's a good. I think that's what it was. Simpler times.
The 90s, man. It was just like
it was simpler. And I think we kind of like pageantry a little bit more back in the day. Yeah.
Now everything has to be complicated.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, and like I view like the font for stuff is all the same. Like I haven't seen Comic Sans in forever. It just seems all like, oh, this is. Like consultants got into everything, and I think there's just something with like authentic, I think that's why the Pop-Tart thing just kind of blew up because it's like that's weird, and like companies just need to do weird, whimsical shit more often.
Yeah, and I think that's a great segue into the NBA ratings decline and how to fix it.
Yeah,
I think the NBA has become like AI'd.
Yeah,
almost like the gameplay has become like computerized, where it's like, we're just gonna do the most efficient. Everything's most efficient. It's almost like baseball with like sabermetrics, but baseball is still like has this like weird randomness to it.
Yeah, and I think because baseball's so hard that you could be so like perfect at it, but there's so many games and so hard to get a hit that it's like. Whatever, like, perfect optimal. It's still 330, and like, yeah.
The randomness and like just like the base running, the scoring. First, like scoring in the NBA is like super prevalent, right? Where you're you're scoring like over a point every possession. So, how do you fix it? My idea, because I mean, it's almost like you got to just tell people like, hey, fuck this like shooting three shit. we need to get back to like looking the guy across from you and just being like, I'm fucking better than you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to like that was what like Michael Jordan and Allen Iverson, I feel like were awesome. They would just like hit these deep mid-range 2-pointers over someone's face and something
like
about
real heat checks.
Yeah, like really hard shots that are not likely, but they did them anyway because they wanted just to physically dominate you and prove that they're better than you.
I think you're onto something, and I think what we're kind of getting at is like the common kind of parlance or see where it goes like, oh, people want scoring, and no, I think it should go the exact opposite way, where it's like defense should get so much more rewarded or like focused on, where like having 100-point game should be like a rarity, and that we have like 80, 85 slugfest where like people like, because I think one thing people like about NBA is that they're super soft, right? They're always like load management, whatever, and it's like, okay, just fucking say fuck the players, right? And it's like, have people get checked and like make it really physical, and I think that's kind of why people like the Olympics, because they're like, you can kind of be more physical in that environment. So I think like whatever rules you do for that, make it more physical. And also like the 1-on-1 stuff, I don't know how you do that, promote that, but I think it needs to go to like lower scoring, like be more like football type thing. Like physical.
I like that a lot, actually. Yeah, because people like scoring, but like people like scoring because it's hard to score, not for the hell of scoring, right? We don't want to watch a 3-point contest. We want to watch guys hit incredible shots over a guy or dunk over someone or do something cool. So
when you score a lot, it's like, oh my god, this is awesome. Versus like everyone's scoring a lot, like who gives a shit?
I would like to take the 3-point line and move it back 3 feet.
Hot take: get rid of the 3-point line.
Ooh,
right?
I kind of like it, actually. That'd be interesting. Because like the stats would just say attack the rim, but then you could just like back it. Yeah,
get mid range back. Rim. Elite post play. And you have to be bulk up for that. I think that's what it is. You just get rid of the 3-pointer.
That'd be wild, actually. They should get rid of it for the in-season tournament and see how it goes.
Or just make it super deep, like super deep. But then you have to change the court. Like you already can't like really move like on the sides, because what's kind of crazy to me is like how little space, for corner threes they actually have. Like it's just so tight, and how close people are. Like how that ever got like allowed, like blows my mind.
I know, and it's like shorter over there too.
Yeah,
That's a good straight down.
Yeah.
I think they should get rid of that section of the 3.
Yeah.
Like, just have the continue. Like don't have once it hits out of bounds, it's just
it's just on the top, and then move it up, kind of like where the logo starts.
Yeah, like, so you can have guys like Steph hitting a couple a game or like Damian, but I'd like it to be more like a couple a game. Like I don't want guys hitting like
make it a 4-pointer
from deep.
Yeah, from real deep, 4 points.
It'd be kind of fun just because
real comebacks, like buzzer beaters.
Yeah, I wonder what the analytics of that would say, like what a 4-point would do. Yeah. You could make like 2 in a row, all of a sudden it's an 8.
And if you follow someone on it, like holy shit.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, I think because that would stir shit up, Like, what do you do?
It should just be a bunch of pointer, and then we just have people. We just have all these like nerds sitting on the side. All right, now shoot a 5. All right, now shoot a 6.
Yeah, right. I mean, and also like one like exciting play, right? Is like the full court passes. Maybe make that worth 10 points.
An alley-oop from wherever. An alley-oop counts from wherever the ball is passed from.
Oh, but you can check like football, or not like football, but you can, once the ball's in the air, you can do whatever you want to the ooper.
Dude, just like going up for a dunk.
Yeah, literally just tackle it.
Ball is in the air.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and so it's like maybe you have like an instance of where you like try to throw a guy in the air. Like you have maybe that's how you get like midgets involved because you have your designated like chucker in the air person to get it, and like they're the easiest. You know.
I do think this is, talk about the NBA ratings decline. Slam ball.
Yeah, it was
It was
awesome.
such a good product. People loved
Yeah.
it. There was anything wrong, and
Yeah.
then what just as a society we just let that go. Why do we limp along the WNBA and subsidize
Yeah.
that, but we don't
Well,
do the same with slam ball, and everyone actually wants that.
actually, that's a good point. Have WNBA be slam ball, so they
They
can
should
dunk.
switch.
Yeah,
They should
to
take the
slam ball.
money,
Yeah,
take the slam ball money, or the WNBA money, and give it to slam ball because the WNBA is so successful now. They don't need.
no,
any.
I'm just thinking like just the WNBA. They play, but they just do it on slam ball courts.
Oh, that would be awesome, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, because then you like get over like the athleticism, and then you like can get gymnastics involved with that. You know,
Oh,
and like
yeah.
gymnastics is like popular and cool. You know, like I would love to see Smo Biles doing crazy shit to like
And
score.
and girls are smart. They'll probably like figure out like, hey, if we
Yeah.
like work together, we could like bounce someone even
Well,
higher.
fucking like cheerleaders do like I don't know pyramids and like have like
Yeah.
cheerlead like give an avenue for cheerleaders to like do professional stuff. You know, because they like the cheerleading stuff is actually pretty crazy. You know, like what they do, like it's
Oh,
the
yeah,
most
yeah.
dangerous sport. Yeah, and like all that stuff. You know, like yeah, I think
Oh, yeah. You could
and if you
easily
get the cheer people involved, then you have hotter people, which will increase ratings. I think that's kind of like the undercurrent of why WNBA is not successful. It's like no one wants to watch butch lesbians play. Let's be honest. But cheerleaders doing that shit, that's attractive. People are in on that. You know.
let's be honest. What's really
Let's be
going
honest.
on here?
Yeah, let's be honest. I mean, I think we saw both organizations. I think, yeah. I mean, I'd be so into that. That's interesting. You know.
All I have to say is to the NBA and future slam ball WNBA, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
You're
We will
welcome.
take royalty.
Yeah. We'll
Or a
just
team, actually. Give us a team. That'd be kind of fun.
Actually, I would love a team. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, team
All
would be
right.
fun.
NBA ratings, how to fix bigger point lines, deeper, no 3-point line, slam ball, slam ball, slam ball.
Slam ball.
Moving on. Packers, Vikings preview. Wow. So this is Sunday afternoon. It's the game of the week for me.
Yep.
11-4 Packers. 13-2 Vikings. We're going into, right? This is at Minnesota.
Yep.
How do you feel? What do you think? Sam's keys to the game.
So I think a big thing is our defense. It's been so good recently. Does it continue to be that way? And I think with like, kind of a silver lining is that like Jair's been out all this time. I think it's almost kind of a silver lining in that aspect, because he's kind of like unreliable. And he actually might never play for the Packers again. Like if he really does have the torn PCL, like that could just be a career ender, which is kind of sad to think about. But Carrington Valentine's been a dog. Like Zane Anderson, like remember when he was a ghost, like we thought for a while, like he just didn't exist, and comes in with a pick. Like our depth, and I think that's why depth is so important, especially in the NFL, is that especially if you have depth that can like actually like get runtime during the regular season so they can develop, been good. So I think it's our defense is really important. I think we saw with I mentioned that Sam Darnold thing, like he does take a lot of sacks, and like so they have that awesome tackle, whoever the right tackle is. I don't know, name escaped me. But he's really good, but like I think their interior is still kind of sus. And so if our pass rush, which has been pretty decent, especially like Brenton Cox, and I totally called that.
Yeah.
Like he's been like better than Gary, which is kind of wild. But so if our pass rush can get to Darnold, I think because Darnold also, if I saw correctly, the Vikings have one of the longest, like their average play time. Like they do a lot of long developing plays, and like that like so they can do complicated, cool shit that Kevin O'Connell comes up with. And I think that's hard to defend. So if we can get to him quick, then all that shit breaks down. And then, you just keep them like under the sticks and turns into like the Miami Dolphins game where it's like, okay, you can throw a ton of passes over the middle, but like that's not going to kill us type thing. So I think a lot of it is on defense. And I think actually not having Christian Watson would really hurt because his speed totally takes the top of the defense and allows so much shit to happen. But if you don't have him, and it looks like Musgrave will play double-digit snaps, maybe like 12 to 15. That could be a replacement there. So I'm not as worried about Chris Ross as I normally would be because I think Musgrave can do some shit. But so either way, I feel good. Like by DVOA, we are the best team in the entire league right now.
Woo!
I know.
I love it. I'm a little nervous about Jefferson over the middle. I just feel like he makes big plays, and it just sucks because like with him, it's just like one mistake here, one mistake there.
Yeah,
you get like a 70-yard touchdown.
Yeah,
and he just seems to like make a lot of plays against us, and everyone. So
yeah,
he's a little concerning. And Darnold's like played well, but like to your point, they do have like kind of the long design stuff. Addison's pretty solid.
Yeah, he's really come on this season.
We got to like really just get pressure on Darnold. I mean, I think that's really what it's going to come down to. It's just like get him pressure on him, throw him off schedule, knock him around a little bit. I think our run defense will look good against Jones.
Yeah. Our run defense has been a revelation.
Maybe we get a little fumble-rooski from Jones.
Yeah.
Our boy.
Or just kneecap him end of season in his career. That too.
And then offensively, that would suck if Watson's not there. But I don't know. We got a lot of guys. Hopefully they can step up. Jacobs continue to be a dog. Jordan Love continued to dominate. He's looked great. No picks recently. So I'm excited. It would be nice one to win this one just for like confidence. I think we haven't really beaten one like good.
Yeah.
And Vikings, I still like kind of think they're frauds, even though they keep winning.
But they're kind of not. Like they are, but they're not. I don't know. They're kind of they're like the Lions almost in a way.
They're kind of like the Eagles with Nick Foles.
Yeah.
Where it's like you're like, well, I know he's like talented. I know he can do it. He was a high pick, and so it's like, but will he? Can he? He could. I think Donald could get it done, honestly. To be honest, like I think he actually could like win a Super Bowl. But I think Jared Goff could too. But I don't. I think Packers win this game. I think it's going to be our defense has been playing great. I think it'll be a battle though. 31-17. Packers.
Yeah, and every time I feel really good about a game, I always end up getting like Bucks, but I feel really good about this game, and that worries me. That really does worry me, and so it's like I get worried, but then I come down to it where it's like they have, and I don't know, like, but to your point, where we've looked really good against like inferior teams, and like that Saints team was like not good. But then you saw like the Vikings and the Seahawks, but I think that's almost like the Vikings are really good at like the one score games. I think this year, like the Vikings are like phenomenal at. So I think that's like why it's hard to like believe, and I think the Lions are kind of similar too. Well, not really actually because they blew people out, but the Vikings specifically, I think they're just well coached, and like they're just really good at like when it's one score, like okay, just stick to your plan, keep doing this, all this stuff, and that's kind of like an underrated attribute where it's like, oh, you're only a really good team if you look really good against people, but they're really good because they find a way to win, and that's kind of what it all comes down to.
Super consistent.
Yeah, and their defense is like phenomenal.
Yeah, that's Brian Flores, right?
Yeah,
he's always good. And I think they do a good job too of like leaning on Justin Jefferson. Like, one of the best wideouts in the NFL.
Addison, they find a guy.
Yeah,
but mostly Jefferson.
Jefferson has 1387 yards, 92 catches. Like that's a ton.
Yeah,
15 games in the year. I mean, so there's
So
two left. So
looking up since week 11, of all QBs by like EPA and CP, like completion percentage over expectation composite, top QB is Jared Goff with 0.221. Jordan Love is second with 0.214. Josh Allen is third, 0.203. Then there's a drop off. Lamar is 0.183. Matt Stafford is fifth, actually, which is kind of wild. 0.167. And then Darnold's 6.161. And Tua is actually seventh, which is kind of interesting.
Again?
So it's like EPA, which is like estimated points added per like drive or whatever, and then CPOE, which is completion percentage over expectation. So this takes like how many points you get and like how much do you like complete over what you should actually complete. So it's kind of like all encompassing, like how like advanced analytics for QB. And it's probably my favorite metric in determining So basically since week 11, Goff and Love are 1 and 2, and it's pretty like they're pretty tight. Like, and then Josh Allen is third, and then there's like a big drop off from there, relatively speaking. Lamar, Stafford, then Darnold, then it's Tua, Burrow's after him, pretty close. Like Darnold, Tua, and Burrow are at basically the same QB. Drops off a little bit to Baker Mayfield, then drops off quite a bit to Hurts. Daniels, May's 12th. Mahomes is 13th. Geno Smith is 14th. Guess who's 15th? Bryce motherfucking Young. And then Herbert's, so just kind of notable ones looking here. Justin Herbert's 21st. Brock Purdy's 22nd. And just only slightly better than Mac Jones. Mac Jones actually is better than Caleb Williams right now. Caleb Stroud is 29th.
Chris Stroud?
Yeah, Caleb Stroud.
Chris Stroud.
Chris Stroud, yeah, sorry. CJ Stroud, 29th. He's behind notable QBs such as Gardner Minshew, Cooper Rush, Anthony Richardson, and Jameis Winston, and Mac Jones. And he's just slightly above Aiden O'Connell. Kirk Cousins is 31st. Will Levis is 32nd. Drew Lock is the worst.
Wow.
So CJ Stroud has been garbage, like garbage.
Hey, where's Caleb again?
Caleb is 24th, just behind Mac Jones.
Crazy, dude. That is nuts.
I know.
See, it makes like a lot of sense too. Like with like Hurts being like 14th, which I think is probably more fair for him. Like when it actually comes to throwing. Goff being number 1 is interesting too because he has played really well this year.
Yeah, well, since week 11, but
yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so CJ Stroud, I mean, he's worse than Anthony Richardson. And you think of like if you think of, oh my God, Anthony Richardson's so bad, CJ Stroud's the GOAT. Like it definitely, and Jameis Winston, he's just behind. Like Mac Jones is better than Caleb Williams. I think that's just such a take in
Stroud is
itself.
probably the most disappointing player in the NFL this year.
Yeah, he has to be, right? And like with the media too, it's always like once they like crown you, it probably takes like a season or two before like that finally like goes the other way.
Yeah, so much hype. They signed Diggs. Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Joe Mixon they had. Everyone's like, oh, Texans are going to be going off.
Yeah.
Dude, everything Diggs touches turns to shit, though. So,
yeah.
I wish he was back in Minnesota. Yeah. All right. Vikings, Packers. So you're nervous, but you feel good. But that makes you nervous, but you feel good.
I feel good. I feel good
too. I'm excited to watch, and the game's not at some ungodly hours. So
that's nice. Yeah, it's nice.
Pumped. All right, moving on. HIB.
H1B. Have you been following that on Twitter?
H1B? Is this like the
like Indian people coming in?
I followed like a little bit, but I'm here for it. What do you got?
Well, so basically the whole controversy kind of started with Elon Musk and then just blew up. So that like there's all these H-1Bs coming over. I don't really know how many. I think it's like 180,000, which in the grand scheme of things is not a lot. But like how accurate that number is, I'm not 100% sure. But basically, like what H-1B is that okay? We can't find what it's supposed to be used for is like super skilled jobs, and it's like we can't find like we can't find any Americans that can do this. So then we get like visas for people to come in, and these people, and that's how it's supposed to be. But in reality, is like these people are being paid below what the actual like median wage is, and kind of a like the undercurrent. But I think really the bigger thing is that like if you have top tier talent, and which these like positions are, those people are really mobile in the workforce, right? They're an attractive employee, and they can go like you hire them, expensive hire. They work for you for a year or two, and then job hop, and like that costs you a ton of money, and it's kind of hard to like build. But like these H-1Bs, like they're basically like either they work for you or they leave the country. So it's like you kind of have them as like super highly educated, skilled slaves or indentured servers. Yeah. And so it's like companies love that shit, right? Because it's like, oh, like so annoying that labor is so skilled, but then they have like they're empowered to, do whatever they want to do, right? So I think that like that's kind of like what I found out about it, and like Elon and like people are like, oh, we need these people because like get it, and then you can like search it and it sees like you see like one there's like a gas station where like there's this issue. It seems predominantly focused on like Indian people that like once one of them gets hired, they just hire all Indians, and like that's all they do is, and it's like chain migration. So they like bring everyone over, they hire all of them, and it's like and like this like that's not in itself. I think like it seems logical, but like it's kind of against like the American meritocracy type thing where like sure there's network, and I think like the network, but that's always been a thing. But I think like white people just got mad because other people are doing that, and then it's like they're losing out on jobs. So it's like that's I think kind of funny in a way where like okay, everyone's just doing what you were doing, and like kind of like Jewish people do that too, right? Where it's like oh they all kind of hire each other, and like there's nothing in itself wrong with that, but I think when it's like focused on, even though like white people do it, but it feels less because it's race, because it's I guess we're the majority of the country, so it seems like oh no, we're just hiring the people we know, but like the people are pretty likely to be your same race, so I think that's kind of lost in the discussion where it's like oh you see like all Indians, but it's like well they're their family, right? Like family and friends, like that's what everyone kind of does. So I don't know. Like I kind of just the middle ground, but I think it's interesting that like like people are kind of showing the true colors there when it comes to the conversation.
Yeah, no, it's funny when it comes to that because it's like the reality of the situation of hiring. Like with my family's company, it was always like people. I don't know, it just always worked better too with people we knew because they understood kind of like how the company flowed and how my parents and like dynamics and. It just makes sense sometimes to hire people like that fit because you know how they're going to fit into a situation.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think most people like you'd want to know how someone that's what the interview process is like figuring out who this person is and if they're going to be a good fit.
And so, I think the best you can do is probably like figure out like 15% of someone is, versus like even the best interview process versus like if it's family or friend, it jumps up to like 75, 80, like there's just such a gulf between a random person versus like a family or friend,
Yeah, such a huge gulf. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're a small business, it's like you don't want someone like to come in and like fuck shit up. I think like maybe with corporate setting, like you have a lot of parts and like kind of pieces. Yeah. It's like you can like throw someone in there and like as long as they're getting some work done, like not causing
that's fine.
Like, okay. But for like it depends on the dynamic, I think, of the company. So
yeah, I think that's important. Yeah. Like small business, one person could take your whole company, Yeah,
for sure. And that was definitely like a concern or something like we would talk about when hiring was like like because I don't know, people make jokes and like say things. It's like, do you want someone who's gonna like free? I don't know. I think they're hopefully we're moving on from that, but I think there has been a time where like it's almost just like you're afraid to anyone could like report you for like saying something wrong almost. I don't know. It's
You
weird.
got to cover your ass.
So H-1Bs, it sounds like they get used for, from my takeaway, which wasn't much, was they get used for entry level stuff when they probably shouldn't really be.
Yeah.
Because it almost was like workarounds for people to. Yeah, I think like in general, like America, like we need to focus on hiring people. I think there's like 6 million men between the age 25 and 54 that are like out of the workforce, not training. And I think we pretty much need to like focus on getting those people back to filling some of these jobs that maybe have been filled by people wherever educated.
I think
one thing. And then I think at the end of the day, it's like, okay, we do our best, but we gotta like hire people from outside of the country as well.
Yeah, and we need that, you know. And also, I think we've gotten to the point where, because there's like preferential hiring because of like, oh, veterans or minority, you know, like once that like worms its way into like the system, then like everyone's like, well, I want a preference, right? And so I think we just really need to be like, there's just no preferences for anything, you know. And I don't know if that'll ever happen, but like that's what you have to do, you know, because then everyone realizes like, okay, that's fair, right? You know, I don't know if you could ever get that, because then you still have like the referrals and stuff too, but you know, and like that seems like kind of like you could never get rid of that. So I don't know, but or like just maybe better economy. I guess if you just have a better economy, then all this shit doesn't really matter, you know. It's like, oh, who cares?
Speaking of that, I do want to say to something.
Okay.
Admit to something. It bothers me when people like get on airplanes. Why do people in wheelchairs go first?
Yeah, they're already sitting down. Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. Like they couldn't be catered to anymore.
Yeah.
They can come in at the end. They're sitting in the front. They can come in at the end and go right to their spot.
Yeah.
While everyone else
and like, well, everyone's already seated down, put their stuff away.
But it's like it doesn't even make sense from just like a process standpoint. And then also it just is weird. It seems to like make it slower. I don't know. I just don't get that. Like how that happened. And
or like you serve in the armed forces, you get first for some reason. Like armed forces, wheelchairs, family and friends. Like kind of a weird hodgepodge of people.
Yeah. And the kids one, it's like,
I kind of get that because you get more time and they're like running around. It's like, all right, you get them seated while like they're not other people. So like kids aren't like going and like touching strangers and stuff. But like I'm biased because now I had the pleasure of like taking advantage of that, and it's kind of nice.
Yeah, no, I think you should definitely take advantage of it if you can. I don't know. I just feel like it's like if I had a kid, I feel like I'd want to be the last people on, but maybe like getting situated. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like it just seems like there's like kind of like what you're saying. There's like these weird advantages for like everyone. But yeah, I think to your point though, I think it almost is more of like nepotism. Like nepotism's always existed for other people. People kind of say that like, well, why can't we use it too? And I think it's just a reality. It's not really a thing with getting mad or like talking about too much, because like
the world's not fair.
It's just the world, how the world's going to work, and people are going to hire people they know, and that's okay.
You know, it's also kind of like a weird benefit in the airline. Like they all get like a person to shepherd them through the airport. You know, that costs like quite a bit of money. You know, and like that's just taken for granted. You know, and
if you're in a wheelchair.
Yeah, and I think they also get to cut the line for like security. You know, like it's pretty awesome to be in a wheelchair in an airport.
Like,
you get so much perks. Yeah. You have like a private concierge.
And what are those people qualifying? Like, how are they qualifying? Are they like?
I don't know. I think it's like you just say you need a wheelchair.
Yeah, just sometimes they just look like they're just out of shape, honestly.
You know, I think the next time I'm like super hungover on a flight, I think I'm gonna try to get a wheelchair. I think I'm just gonna, you know, like fuck it, right? You know,
just ask. Honestly, maybe it is just one of those things. It's like, well, you just
have to get over the shame of it.
You just got to be okay with everyone in the airport looking at you like,
What's wrong with this guy?
Wrong with that guy, or why is he skipping me in line? Is that okay?
If I'm really hungover, I kind of look like I have mental issues, so I think it'll be like self-explanatory. Like all that poor soul.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry, sir. You can go first. You can go first.
All right, let's move on.
Moving on.
That's a good point about the airplanes, though.
Thank you. Are slurs making a comeback? I think a little bit. I think they are. I'll say generally they are, but I feel like it's almost one of those situations where sometimes people are like forcing it a little bit. You know what I mean? They want to be provocative and like say the thing that we weren't allowed to say before or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes across like a little weird. If it's just like natural and you're funny and it makes sense and like context, go for it, I would say. And I think it's normal, but I think there are some people that are just like being a little weird about it.
Yeah, I guess my kind of limits test for it is like I can't remember a last time a comedy movie like used the word retarded.
Yeah. And every time I hear it still, I like, you're always just kind of like,
like jarring, right? Yeah. And it's probably a good thing, but maybe on the point where it's like, you know, like I watched an old SNL skit where it was with Richard Pryor and maybe Chevy Chase. And it was like Richard Pryor was like interviewing as like a black, like he was interviewing for janitor job. And then Chevy Chase was the hiring manager. And then it was like a word association test, like what's the first thing? And then that being like racial, like oh, cracker, and then like say like jive turkey and like jungle bunny, and like then they had like Chevy Chase called him, like said like N-word, you know, like the N-word to him. And like just hearing that like on SNL, it's like, oh my God, you know, like how times have like changed, right? Like if that happened now, I generally think like someone would go to jail. Like I generally think that like a NBC exec would go to jail if like someone said the N-word or writer, you know. So
probably.
you know, like, yeah, and so it's like I mean I think it's even like internet, like it's very like I remember on Reddit you would see it occasionally, the N-word, you know, and like now I don't see it like ever, you know, and that's again probably a good thing, but also like I also think it's a bad thing because it's like it's almost like Voldemort, and it like if you don't ever see or hear it, then it becomes this big scary thing, and then you know then it has so much power, and I just don't think it's ever good for words to have that much power. You know, I think that then it just people get beat up for stuff like that. I don't think like that just seems wrong to me. I guess like words should be respected, but they shouldn't be like violent, you know. And I think some words are violent nowadays. Like it's like it's like violence. Like someone said to you slap their face.
Yeah. Well, I think they get used as an excuse. Like people want to justify their actions, so they'll be like, "Well, you're doing violence against me, so then I can do violence against you." And it's like, well, no, it's not. But no, it's definitely not. I agree. Like it's good to make like it's. I think it is good not to give words too much of a meaning.
You just got to find the middle ground, I think.
I did think like there was a time where on my Twitter it was like a ton of it, and then now I feel like it's gone way less.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I see something, I'll just like mute it or like block it or something, and I think the algorithm actually works pretty well now.
Yeah, so, I think it does.
So like I don't know, my stuff like I don't really see like a ton of that stuff. I haven't heard anyone make any jokes. It is crazy how much it's changed. I was just thinking like when Lauren and I we were listening to Christmas songs over like the holidays, and one of the songs is like that. We are feed the world. We are the world. You know. We are, and like the lyrics is like. It's all about like do they know it's Christmas time?
Oh yeah, it's like they're so ignorant.
Like it's like these people like going through a famine in like the 80s, and it's like they're like singing about feeding the world and if they know it's Christmas, and it's just like hilarious that like songs change. And they said there's like one of the lines is about there's no peace or joy in West Africa, and It's
And
like
it's like still kind of true. There's not though, but it's like you can't really say that.
there's no peace and joy.
There's just no peace there.
Zero fun, sir.
Yeah.
So, but it is just so fun to see how things have changed and like, yeah, I don't know. People, I just kind of
songs are weird like that. Like the "Ring Around the Rosie" song. I was like thinking about that. Like that's about nuclear Armageddon, and that became like a children's rhyme. Like how that happened is beyond me.
yeah, I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
Ashes, we all fall down.
Yeah. Right. What else to say? I had a point where. Oh, so like with algorithm, I think that's like a huge telling point about yourself that people just don't realize. It's like, oh, my algorithm's all this like bad stuff. It's like, well, that's on you because you keep clicking that,
Yeah,
But
it is.
you are way. It's not just some magical robot feeding you it randomly. Like that's what you engage with. Sure, here and there, it probably just gives you stuff because it's popular. But like
Okay.
your algorithm's on you. So it's like if you complain about that, like that's because you want that. Like, and that's the type of person I hate the most, where it's like your actions are so different than your words, but you're so dumb or head buried in the sand that you just don't realize it. And it's just like I just want to like shake that person. It's like this, you are in control of this. This is about you and your decisions and your behavior, not some big daddy government or company making this happen to you.
It is the worst when it's the cluelessness about how they're affecting it. It's like you're causing this and you're complaining about it.
Yeah. Like have agency. It's like the lack of agency just bothers me so much.
It is funny now because it is like it also like changes pretty quickly. Like you can kind of tell like when you stop doing things that like so at this point, yeah, it's 100% whatever you're doing. You need to like realize whatever you're doing in the moment and stop it if you want to make a change, or just cry and bitch. But everyone, it's almost like when you make fun of like the ads, when people oh, I keep getting these gay ads. Like why
it's
are
like,
the ads?
Oh, maybe check your grinding subscription, bro. Yeah.
This doesn't appear.
Yeah. Kind of related, kind of not. But like, so I was on TikTok for like a couple days, and one video that just somehow like entranced me was coin pusher machines. So it was, and they like have like these really super expensive ones. I think you've seen it, right? Where it's like you put a quarter in and it has like all this money in it, and like there's like a sweeper thing that just keeps sweeping back slowly and pushes coins into a slot, and you get like whatever comes in. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like the game?
Yeah, it's like an arcade game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so they have like super high money one where there's like gold bars in it and like stacks of bills and stuff like that. And like to me, that's like, I don't know. It just, I like watched that for like 6 hours. Just kept watching coin pusher videos. Like, and I don't know what it was, but it's just like, it was just, yeah, like, and that's all it was. Like the satisfying, like when all this stuff, like all the money and quarters and everything, like falls down. Like to me, that just released so much dopamine. It was just like a fireworks. Like it was like thrilling just watching all the shit fall down. I don't know why, but for some reason that just really scratches my autistic brain.
You need to analyze that and then channel it, and you can create your own stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Become a pro, and there's like people that do it like professionally, like because it's like cadence of when you put your coins in, then you can like the best odds to push stuff out, Yeah, so I don't know. That seems like a fun, like a really niche gambler thing. That'd be kind of fun to be.
Super niche
professional
gambler.
Coin pusher. Like,
so what do
gambler.
You do?
Yeah,
that'd be like the most fun job.
Yeah,
like,
most fun niche conversation starter.
Yeah. They have parties. So what do you do?
Yeah, professional coin pusher gambler.
Are slurs making a comeback? Yes,
but not really, but kind of. Oh, so I thought it was a good one. We talked about it over Christmas. Like, what would your last meal be? And like not like generic, but maybe more specific. Like, well, not. I mean, it could be, but like, I guess however you want to take it.
Okay. Wow. I think I would have to have it'd be a pretty big meal just because I would want
100%. So many. I would do all the options.
A bunch of different flavors from things.
Yeah.
So I'll say this: I would want half of a burger from Cops.
All right, pause. So does the answer change? Because like for me, I assume that I would be super stoned for this. I don't know if you were assuming the same way.
Well, I was figuring that I was being put to death, and it was not. I was not.
So
given,
you would just be sober. Okay, so I don't know if that changes your answer or not.
okay, but
for me,
we'll say it could.
okay.
I still think I would eat probably half a burger just because I don't want to like fill myself
Fill up. Yeah.
I'd have some fries from. I really like Culver's fries, honestly. Culver's fries, probably.
Yeah, they're okay. Like I think because I've never ordered like Culver's fries by themselves, but like they're good with the meal. Like I think McDonald's is the only place where I've actually just ordered fries from.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm having it with the meal.
Yeah, and then that makes them better.
Yeah. Get some fries, Cop's Burger. I probably would drink like a Spotted Cow. Be a nice like ode to Wisconsin. Yeah. I still think I'd want some like steak and mashed potatoes just for the flavor. I'd probably want a pepperoni pizza.
Yeah.
Maybe one taco. I don't know. I'd probably just like throw in like a little bit of everything. Honestly.
A little bit of everything.
Barnaby's. I would have some Barnaby's pizza, Illinois.
Interesting. I don't think I've heard of that place.
Got to get it someday. Oh, and I have a bowl of real chili.
Yeah,
real chili, for sure.
All right. So I think I would. There's this like burger place I went to like when I got like my chair from eBay, and it was like in a suburb of Illinois, and we went to get in the summer, and we went to this like it's kind of like Wayne's World, where it was like just like a little burger stand, but like it wasn't like they didn't come out to get you, but it was just like a little. It was kind of like Hefner's. There's just like a little like tiny burger stand, only cash only. It was called Paradise Pop, and it was like, and I only had it once, and I think it like one of those things where it becomes because you only had it once, and it's hard to get to, and you like kind of like romanticize because it was like a nice summer day, but it was like probably the best burger I've ever had, and so I think I'd get that, but I almost worried that I would like ruin it, like because it's like it wouldn't be as good type thing. So like maybe just get like a decent like just like you said, go with Cops. So I know what that is type thing, but I don't know. So like I agree with you. I'd have like half a burger. I think I would have like a good chicken parm. Like, I like that a lot. And also like, there's a place called Bavette's where it's like this really fancy like restaurant, and they have like this pretty amazing steak sandwich. And I would have that. I also had like a Philly out in New Jersey. It was like a Philly cheesesteak that was pretty phenomenal.
Oh, dude, I bet you had some great ones out there.
Yeah, that was
What was your favorite food in Philly? Like when you were out there?
It was like never in Philly. It was like New Jersey is an elite food state because they have like all the Italians, like their Italian delis were just phenomenal. And I remember this one time, like went out and it was like I don't know where it was, somewhere in New Jersey, and went in and it was like owned by like old like Italian people. And so I don't know if you ever been in a deli like this where it's like you just grab whatever you want and then you pay at the very end instead of up front. But so it was like this old grandma came to me and she's like, "Oh, you look like you've been working all day. Like just sit down, grab yourself a drink, and like I'll come get your order and give it to you, and like you can pay it then." And I was like, "Oh my god, how nice was that?" Like, this old like lady was just like, like, "Sweetie, I'll take care of you," type thing. And it was just phenomenal. And it was like I got like an Italian or something like that. It was just so fucking good. Like the meats, and it's like the bread. I think like the whole thing about New York bread is pretty true. Like their bread, like especially like a bacon, egg, and cheese out there is just so much better than anywhere else I've had. And it's like the roll or whatever they use. I don't know, but I'd even probably have like a little bacon, egg, and cheese in there too. I don't know.
It'd be kind of nice to go to like if you were to do this to have like a meat, like a course meal where it's just a bunch of like little bites that are just amazing, and then it gets paired with like a drink every time. So it's just like preset.
That's how I do. That'd be a good idea for a restaurant where it's like because it's like really like the first, because it's like a sensory adaptation. The first bite's always the best, and then you're just like used to the taste. So it's still good, but it's not like the first bite, you know? So it's like really, if you just have like one bite of like everything, that's probably the best way to like enjoy the meal, you know?
Like a tasting menu.
Yeah. But like,
small-
yeah, like small, but
smaller.
like I also like, yeah, but I like gorging myself, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah,
I'd
I
have like,
noticed like with tapas eating, or like the more
yeah,
it's like so prevalent here that it's like you, because I know what you mean. Like you want to like eat a bunch at like
hmm
one time, but it's almost like when the food comes out like more spread out,
yeah,
you get fuller, and then you just don't feel the need to like eat. I don't know, it's just not as
yeah.
fun.
No, I agree because it's so I learned it's because by the time you eat, it takes like 5-10 minutes for your stomach to get the signal from your brain that you're full. So it's like you just keep
Okay.
eating and you like you're still hungry even though like there's food in your system, and then your stomach realizes like, oh no, I'm full. So like that, I think that's why.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But one thing I don't like about tapas is like it feels like it's mostly like appetizers. You know, like I want tapas, but I want it to be like entree tapas, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
think that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, and that's like the hard part because you want like the full, but you can also go and just get like a burger just by
Yeah.
itself.
But it's like a whole burger, you know, like I guess sliders, but I don't really like sliders as much as I like burgers because I feel like the patty is like weird, you know. It's like I want like just a bite of a burger and like throw it all away type thing, you know. But then I'd still eat it. I don't know. I don't know. It's like very conflicting emotions about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
All right.
All right, moving on. Last meal choice.
I think this might be the last question.
All right, that was
I like
good.
this. Is great.
That was
Yeah.
like, what was that, like an hour and a half?
Yeah. We're getting more what our audience wants, but maybe doesn't need in terms of length.
Yeah, well, it'll be a surprise how long every episode is, and that's kind of the
Yeah.
fun. That's
That
the
is kind
fun
of fun.
being a subscriber.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas only to our subscribers. Fuck everyone else.
Exactly.
And 2025 is probably the year where we take over. So, Sam, any big plans? New Year's Eve?
No, I think we're gonna be chill. What about you?
I think same. Probably drinking something
Yeah.
bubbly, if I had to
Yeah.
guess. But yeah, probably pretty chill. And then what day is it this year? It's like on a Saturday, Sunday. These weeks are like really weird with how it's broken up. Wednesdays,
Yeah. It's like all into the middle of the week.
and then Notre Dame plays Wednesday night at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. All
All right.
right.
An elite, kind of an elite sports day today. Kind of nice.
Today?
Yeah. Football, college basketball, college football, NFL though. Got a lot of sports on today.
Nice. I'm ready. Sweet. Okay. Sweet. All right,
All right.
everyone. Have a great New Year's. Thanks for listening. Sam, good talking to you. Merry
Yep.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. All right. Pause. Oh, there we go. Oh, still